Okay, this video is from the book Underground Guide to Study Skills, Chapter 19, called The Greatest Secret of Study Skills. Okay, and this comes from, back when I was at Stanford, and I saw a lot of very hardworking students get bad grades. And I've done a lot of tutoring. I've seen a lot of people that are bright and they just don't do well in school. And what's the most common reason that somebody studies a lot but doesn't get a good grade? And it's because they rely on rote recognition. They just keep on looking over their notes, and then they hope they recognize the material when they get into the test situation. But the problem is rote recognition is really a superficial interaction with the material. It's passive. And here's the good news. There's a cure. And the cure is you need to do a self-test. Just take your book and close your book. Leave it on the table. You can leave your pen, on the page that you were on so you know what page you're on, but close the book. And then here's a little joke. Mirror, mirror on the wall, what's the best study method of them all? Self-test, self-test. It's better than the rest. I would often call it a walk and talk self-test. Whenever I would take a study break, and I'd often take them just for the purpose of doing a self-test, I'd just walk around and start talking to myself. And I'd just repeat the material. Because when you repeat the material, that actually takes a lot of thought. You have to reconstruct it from all the different parts of your brain where it's stored, and then you have to articulate it. So your speech center is in the habit of making that material, saying it. Your auditory center is in the habit of hearing you say the material. And you learn it better. It's very simple. Like let's say you just studied glycolysis. You would walk around and say the reactions in glycolysis. Glucose from outside the cell is brought into the cell, then it's phosphorylated. And that phosphorylation charge traps it in the cell so it can't diffuse back out. Then it has to be isomerized into fructose. Then you add another phosphate, try to make it more symmetric. Then you step to the second part of the glycolytic phase, where you're in the 3-carbon phase. Anyways, you just keep talking to yourself, and you're going to forget stuff. That's inevitable initially, but you go back, you look at your book, and remember what you forgot. Then try to get to the point where you can just walk around and say the whole cycle. And when you can do that, then you know it pretty well. You have good confidence. I never did an all-nighter in my entire academic career. I would just study a lot, do the walk and talk self-test, be able to articulate and everything, and then I was real confident because I knew that I could write out the entire cycle. So I wasn't worried about recognizing anything. I could create the whole thing. And you can do different forms of self-test. You don't just have to talk about it. You can close your book, take out a piece of paper, and then just write down everything you just learned with, let's say, glycolysis or some other biochemical cycle or some other topic. You just prove to yourself that you can reproduce, you can generate the material. That's a very active form of studying, and that's why it works so well. Okay. Let's see, what else do we got to say about it? So really, it's easy to put information into our brains. The real challenge is being able to retrieve it. And you can retrieve something well when you can reproduce it easily with your self-test. And how you add it in is sort of called encoding. So make sure you have encoded it well. Put it into your brain in such a way that you're going to remember it. That means, with a word association, a mnemonic, or having put it into a category, having made sense of it. Okay, so anyways, I'm just going to tell you, you'll find if self-test, if you start using this method, use it when you go on a bathroom break, a laundry break, a nap break, whatever you're going to do, always be in the habit of, every time I go in the bathroom to void when I'm studying or reading something, I'll talk to myself, and it really helps a lot to remember stuff. So, hope that was helpful.